Welcome. This is BINBUSTER, where I buy, watch, and review a bunch of bin movies for you. Today's movie is actually a new release. I call this New Release Wednesday. It's usually once a month I either take a new release or a streaming movie and I review it for you. You just saw what the movie was because I lifted it up. Anyways, today's movie is Neal McDonough and the weekly Bruce Willis flick, because it seems like he's always doing weekly stuff now. Apex. Right there. I like that art on the front, and there it is on the back. What this movie is, as always, I'm going to give you my thoughts, my reactions, and my rating on this weekly Bruce Willis flick. I say weekly because it seems like every week you go to Walmart, he's in a new movie. He has a new movie out. It seems like he was busy 2019, 2020, and 2021 with just releasing films like this. Anyways, this is a movie where Bruce Willis is a guy named Malone. He's a former cop who's had a string of bad luck, gambling debts. He was at a bank robbery gone wrong and was convicted of murder, so he's locked up in this very secure, maximum security prison. Well, you're talking this is the future, so it's a highly technologically advanced, secure prison. And he's happy being in there. And lo and behold, Neal McDonough, who you guys might know from as Damien Dark on Arrow, is phenomenal in this movie. He plays villains very well. I'm going to say that right now. He plays a guy who likes to go to this island called Apex, who likes to hunt. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Except what he hunts is humans. That's right. Apex gets people from prison, bring them over there with the chance that if they survive, they can go free. But half the time, most of the time, the hunters hunt them down, kill them. It's all for sport that way. They pay big bucks. They do stuff like that for sport. So this is kind of a mix of Running Man, Hunger Games, and Surviving the Game. Another remake like that. So it's like kind of all that mashed together in here. The CGI, like I said, the CGI is not bad. They have teleporters, futuristic guns, explosions. It's not bad. It's expected what you would expect out of a B movie. That's exactly what this is. This is a B movie. If you are expecting a blockbuster, you're not going to get one with this movie. Like I said, Neal McDonough plays the hunter, and when he's with other hunters, when they find out it's Malone, which is funny because they kind of pay homage to all of Bruce Willis's other movies in this one scene. They're like, oh, this guy survived death more times than we can count. Not only is he wanted by every major world organization, every major country in the world, the cartel, the Mexican drug lords, bookers are all looking for him. And they said that he survived the train wreck. I don't know about you, but what does that sound like to me? Unbreakable. They said he jumped off a building and some of his spines had to be fused, some of his spinal cord had to be fused together. Oh, where does he jump off buildings? Die Hard. So, and he's been shot in the arm several times, been stabbed. I'm going, you're naming all of these Bruce Willis movies of all his injuries. That's funny. That actually made me laugh, and I thought that was actually pretty clever in here. But when it comes down to, he's going up against 6 hunters when he's there, and one by one the hunters get picked off. Not by Bruce Willis, who's only in this movie for about 30 minutes out of the hour and a half runtime. But they start killing each other. One's in it just for profiteering off of people, off of the hunters, doing insider trading. One's just there because he's trying to get connections with pharmaceutical companies, stuff like that. One's in there because he's just a psychopath. And you have one in there who, because his daddy doesn't want to spend for rehab, and so he sends him here. And then there's Neal McDonough, who we find out in this movie killed his own wife and then is very sinister. I mean, look at that. When you look into his eyes, they just pierce you, and it's like he's a great villain because he just sits there and he's very monotone in speaking, and that makes him this great villain. I love that. I had pretty much bought this movie for him. Not necessarily Bruce Willis. Like I said, he was only in there for a half an hour, and most of the time it's an old man wandering through the woods, because half the time when you see him get up, he's like, oh, moving and groaning because he sat there for so long. He's old. So there's one scene where he lights up a cigar with a lighter, and you're about to hear him say yippee-ki-yay, but he goes, I haven't had one of these in years. And it's like Bruce Willis is normally known in a lot of his action films for smoking a cigar. So, another homage there. And another one, he's sitting there with an empty gun, what is that, magazine on a gun, and he's sitting there pointing it at the guy, and the guy's like, well, that's empty. He goes, so? I was just going to throw it at you. Why would you throw it at me? I've seen it in a movie. Bruce Willis is referencing a movie, I think it was Hudson Hawk, where he did that, where he's out of bullets of the gun, he just chucks it at the guy, and it hits him square in the head. See, Bruce Willis in here knows what movies he's been in. Kind of plays up on that. So, in other words, it comes down to these final two, and only one walks away. I'm not going to spoil that for you. You guys should check it out to figure that one out. And as always, what do I give this? I give this movie, it's 2.5 stars out of 5. It's a middle-of-the-road B flick that is a fun time to watch, and with all the little humor bits between the two when they're there, or some of the other characters, it actually is worth the cost of buying it. And not only that, but also like I said, the CGI is good for a B flick. Their teleporter that they do, the way they teleport them out, is awesome. So on those two cases alone, I recommend picking it up. If you're not a fan of the Bruce Willis weekly movies, or not a fan of B movies, then don't check it out. This is for those diehard Bruce Willis fans. Yes, I said diehard Bruce Willis fans. Or those people who just love B movies. This is for you. And remember, just be an apex warrior, or be Malone, the guy who can't die. Make it a movie night. And until next time, I'll see you.